Your clerk.
Meeting is yours.
Call this meeting to order. All right, we ready?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We'll welcome everyone to the Vinton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday, May the 7th. And as always, we will start off with the roll call, please.
Councilmember Lyles?
Here.
Councilmember McCarty?
Here.
Councilmember Mullins? Here. Vice Mayor Stovall?
Here.
Mayor Gross?
Here. Obviously, we have a quorum. We always use the moment of silence, so I'll ask you to stand for that in just a moment. Hope that you will keep this country and this community and this council in your thoughts and prayers as we have our moment of silence. Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by...
Yours truly.
All right, way to go. And now I know why you're dressed up. All right.
Yeah, more than enough.
Please stand for that.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, folks. All right, with that, we'll move on to our community events and announcements. Mrs. McCarty?
Okay. May the 27th, town offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. June the 1st, at the Vinton History Museum, they have the Community Ice Cream Social on June 1st. June the 19th, the town offices again will be closed for Juneteenth. July 4th, town offices will be closed.
We'll be
Will
open
be
a lot.
closed in observance of Independence Day. And there will be a 4 on the 4th race at Vinton War Memorial in the morning and fireworks later that night at 6 p.m. We do encourage that you visit one of the many restaurants and entertainment venues in our community. For more information, you can go to the venue's website or social media. And for more information on everything happening in Vinton, please visit the In Vinton Facebook page and don't forget to like and share.
All right.
I think that's it. We're not going to open. We're not going to be open.
All right. Okay.
We don't have much events for me.
Chambers mingles do start in June. Well, we didn't mention that.
Oh, okay.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, second Saturday of June?
It's the first Saturday, which is, no, it's the second Saturday, 8th.
Okay.
Second and fourth Saturdays of the month.
Okay.
Throughout the summer. Yeah. We'll have plenty of time to promote it, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we'll get it on the
sure.
books next.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. And now, council activities, please,
I
Laura.
have a pretty good list. Yes,
I
sir.
bet you do.
April 20th, Councilmember Mullins volunteered at the Shred event. On April 22nd, Mayor Gross, Council members Lyles, McCarty, and Mullins attended the mural unveiling. April 24th, Councilwoman McCarty attended the Breast Cancer Awareness Week Walk Committee meeting. On April 26th and 27th, Mayor Gross, Vice Mayor Stovall, Council members Lyles and Mullins attended the Dogwood Festival. On April 30th, Mayor Gross, Council members Mullins and McCarty attended the Safe Street Open House public meeting at the War Memorial. May 2nd, Mayor Gross and Council members McCarty and Mullins attended the Salem Red Sox outing with staff. And May 6th and 7th, since we've already had those today and yesterday, the mayor and council members Mullins and McCarty attended CPR and first aid training.
Very good.
That's caught us up.
And
right.
what date did you lead us at the Arbor Day festivity?
Hey.
Yeah. It's your big day. Okay.
10th day, and I hosted this year, and it was fun. It was such a good day.
It was. It was very good. Very good. That's for sure. Okay. Thank you for bringing us up to date on all that. Next item is a request to postpone or change the order agenda. Anything up, folks? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And tonight it has the minutes of the regular meeting of April 16th. Are any changes or additions? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, second by Vice Mayor Stovall. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, awards and presentations. I understand this is going to, are we going to do the National Police Officers tonight?
Okay.
Vice Mayor has a proclamation that we can read, so you want to do the proclamation first? Okay.
Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week, and whereas the members of the Vinton Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the town of Vinton. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression and intimidation. And whereas the Vinton Police Department has grown to be a modern scientific law enforcement agency and provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, Mayor Bradley E. Gross and the Town Council of the Town of Vinton, on behalf of all citizens, do hereby proclaim May 12th to May 18th, 2024 as National Police Week in the Town of Vinton, and call upon all citizens of the Town of Vinton and surrounding areas that are served by the Vinton Police Department to observe this week and to join Town Council in recognizing officers for their faithful and loyal devotion to the duty and dedicated service to their community.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to throw you a curve. I forgot he had the proclamation. So appreciate you reading that, Vice Mayor. And I might just take a moment to say we want to recognize all the police officers throughout this nation, and we certainly appreciate their service. But we are, in particular, really, really proud of our police department. You guys do a wonderful job. Keep us safe, and we are very proud that it's a fully accredited agency. I think I got that title right.
Correct.
Yeah, and I'm particularly impressed by the community policing that you folks do. I feel like our citizens know that they can approach you guys, and that's very, very important. So thank you guys for doing a great job.
Thank you for the recognition.
Yes, sir.
All right, the next one is Certificate of Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. Cody, we get a couple of, oh, there you are. A couple of awards concerning the finance department, and you were telling me earlier this week the difference and how this one's special. So you might explain that this evening if you don't mind, please.
Yes, sir. So this is, by my count, the 8th year that we have received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, and it is by no means guaranteed. It is a sort of a rigorous evaluation process that many localities quite frankly, many localities don't have the resources or the wherewithal to go through the process to handle the dozens of scoring factors that it does. So it's really a testament not only to Ann Cantrell and the work that she did, but the work, and Susan Johnson, but the work of Antonia and Andrew and Tiffany continuing this on for these years, because it's a fairly rigorous process. You have to score at least proficient, or as Debbie pointed out, we did this year, outstanding in a number of categories from 3 evaluators who are drawn randomly from the Government Finance Officers Association. So it's a lot of staff work to put this in. And the overarching goal of this is that how GFOA views this award is every locality has to put together a budget. at the bare bones, it's the numbers, right? It's the numbers that put together. But what recognizes our budget and this award seeks to call out is it's the distinguished presentation of the budget to make it as helpful and as user-friendly, not just to council and to staff, but to the public as a whole, and to provide a comprehensive financial and policy document for the town. So in theory, anyone could open our budget and go through it and fully understand not just what's going on with the numbers, but our plan for the coming year, our tax rates, our vision for the town, our financial policies. They're all in this one-stop shop, and they meet the highest standard of review from the Government Finance Officers Association. So it is my pleasure to present to the town our most recent Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for fiscal year 2024.
All right. Thank you, sir, very much. Andrew, did you want to add anything to that? Sorry to catch you off guard there.
No, absolutely. This was something new to me when I started with municipal finance and looked into it, and kind of just to echo what Cody said, it's not necessarily just the guts and what makes up the budget, but it's the way that you're able to navigate it. So I think Cody covered everything pretty comprehensively, but it is paid close attention that anyone can pick that up. They can look at any particular area that they want to go and go straight to that place in the budget instead of having to thumb through. So it's more of how the budget is presented and how it's able to be navigated rather than just the document itself. So,
And that is available online, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Antonio had a part in that too, I think. Is that right? Wow. So thank you.
It was definitely a joint effort, so across all departments.
Yeah, most things in this town are a joint effort. So, but thank you very much for that, and congratulations. Next section is citizen comments and petitions. Anyone have anything? No. All right, we will move on to our briefing, and tonight we start first we'll have the economic development update. All right, Marshall, please.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. So I've been able to provide some economic development updates via the Community Development Committee meetings that we've been having. And then just in moments in passing, being able to explain some things to y'all, but just wanted to have tonight to have the opportunity to explain where we are with some of our major projects, some of the smaller things, and get more of a comprehensive picture. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. It doesn't include all the day-to-day operations that go into business recruitment and some of the bigger things we're doing, but this is just kind of hitting some of the things that people may be asking questions about. So some of our bigger projects, first off, we'll start with Gish Mill. Obviously, that project has been going on long before I've been here. You all know all the details about it, so we don't need to go into that. But just to give an update, they're planning to be on the property this July for stabilization and construction, and it's expected to be about a 15-month construction window. So we should start to see work going on there. Hopefully around a year and a half, worst case scenario, maybe 2 years, we can have that open up, and it'll finally be what we've wanted to be after such a long time. And then we also have the hotel. There's been a lot of moving parts in the change in scope of it, working with different investors, speaking with different groups, and even the placement of the hotel, and trying to figure out how to navigate that. Do we want to do a 200-room? Do we want to do maybe a 100-room and then a boutique hotel? But Fayola, Pete, and myself, we've all been working with different investors, and we've actually gotten to know some real estate investors that we've already had a meeting with previously. They were really interested in residential opportunities in Vinton, but the hotel also sparked the interest. So we had a meeting with them previously. They liked what they heard. So now we're having another meeting with them hopefully this month, and they've invited additional people to that conversation. So we'll be seeing where that goes. And then we also have a meeting scheduled with Tim Brown of Soundview Development, our partner who we've been working with. We have that meeting next week, so we can provide further updates following that meeting. Some of our performance agreements and our smaller projects, like the Cleveland Mart redevelopment project, I've been speaking with them consistently, Chris and Dominic, about the project. They have, I believe they've completed, or if not, they're getting near to completion on the plumbing for indoor, outdoor, and then they will do the the interior. And I plan on taking Debbie up there so she can help get some pictures and get the story directly from the developers, and that'll go out in the Vinton Messenger. The first payment is been processed for them, the first payment of the performance agreement, and they are still aiming to open later this year with about 1,000 square feet of office space and then 6 new apartments. We also have Taco Rita, Sergio, right down the street. They're making progress basically in a similar situation where they have some plumbing to do. They've developed a sidewalk leading from their parking lot in the back to South Pollard Street. And once they finish plumbing, then they'll do they'll do interior renovations. And tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. until hopefully 11 a.m., South Pollard Street will be closed. And we just put the post out on Facebook. We just found out from the contractors, but that is a part of the sewer improvements and connections that they're doing down there. And they're still hoping to open later this summer. And then some business openings, Marco's Pizza. They're working with the regional chamber for a ribbon cutting, but the regional chamber is also working with the Vinton Chamber on this. The only reason is because they're a bigger chain. They kind of think more of a bigger market, so their first thought was go to the regional chamber, but all the chambers in the region work very well together. Eric immediately reached out to Angie, and they're coordinating a local and a regional spin for that. We drove by Marco's Pizza today. They are officially open, but the ribbon cutting will be on May 22nd at noon, 993 Hardy Road in the shopping center. Impact Living Services, developing 3 new duplexes, 6 total units, 3 new duplexes. They will hold a ribbon cutting at 9 a.m. on May 29th at 1225 Hardy Road. That's also going to be with the regional chamber, but I believe, again, a similar situation, just kind of a bigger brand and wanting that regional kind of reach, but they will work with the Vinton Chamber to be sure that we are still able to have a Vinton kind of spin on it. And then another business opening is Down Home Pharmacy up at River Park Shopping Center. They are currently open, and we will be working with them as well as the Vinton Chamber to schedule a ribbon cutting, video promotion, and develop that relationship with them. And then no business opening yet for this, but we have been working with plenty of prospects. There are a few open units at River Park right beside the pharmacy. There is a prospect that we've been working with pretty intensely that would be a great use for Vinton, something that we definitely have a gap here. It would be a medical use. It would be a local spin on something that people really want and need, and just as we get more updates, I'll provide more information to you on that. We also have a specialty, I'll call it a specialty food and beverage tenant going into Vinton, or the Vineyard Station behind Aphrodite Salon and Spa. It'll be kind of a destination food and beverage offering. Not sure if I can say exactly the name of it yet or what it will be, but it'll be something that we don't have a lot of in the region, and when people want it, they will travel across the region to go get it. Certainly destination will be really cool for Vinton, and I'm excited to learn more about that. As you know, we were awarded the $500,000 EPA Brownfields grants, and we have begun to leverage that with the help of TRC, formerly Draper Aiden. And we have 3 specific projects that we are targeting currently. The McClung building behind our new parking lot. We're doing structural assessment, and then the phase 1s and phase 2s on that are fire properties. So if nothing else, we can turn it into something a little bit more attractive while we work with our private partners to develop that into hopefully a mixed use situation. And then also we have I believe it's 5 properties, but 3 structures along East Madison Avenue off of Washington Avenue that are being that are leveraging the Brownfields funds. So all of those we're helping to buy down the cost on the front end for the development, some of these challenge properties, and then once it's packaged a little more attractively, then that's when we can hand it off to a private partner, potentially have a public-private partnership, and then that's when it can open into something Just a little bit of the communication side. I just want to give an update on Code Red. Code Red, I believe, has over 200 subscribers as of now, and our newsletter has over 400. Those have been completely organic. We haven't been signing people up themselves or for them. That was something that in my previous role that was complained about a lot. So I just push it to people, encourage them to sign up, and if they would like to, they can. But there's a lot of great information in there. Comes out once a month. It'll be coming out tomorrow. We've had some new updates that we've been having to add, so that will be out tomorrow morning. And if you all, any chance you get, if you can just refer people to our website to sign up for the newsletter so they can stay up to date on all kinds of things. As you know, the Gauntlet is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. Started here in Vinton, and they have grown exponentially to across Virginia, working with entrepreneurs in all kinds of different ways and different markets. And I've been a part of the business plan judging and the pitch judging last week. And the award ceremony will be May 23rd at the Berglund Center. It's formerly been at the War Memorial. They've just grown to such a size that they will be at the Berglund Center. But they've expanded the offerings also, and part of that is Carly Foster with Roanoke County Economic Development and myself. We will man a table for free and just be able to talk to entrepreneurs, have our resources there, and help get people to come check out Vinton and the greater Vinton area in Roanoke County. The Vinton Business Center, that's something that we don't talk about a whole lot. That's a partnership with Roanoke County, but it is right outside of our downtown, or right outside of our town, and it does have opportunity for manufacturing, which we sometimes can be challenged with being so built out, not having a lot of green space in Vinton. So that is an asset that we are working with the Roanoke Regional Partnership with to get those prospects funneled to us from the state, and then working with Roanoke County on finding the proper prospects. And there have been some discussions with Roanoke County on potentially trying some new creative uses for the Vinton Business Center, potentially some mixed use, potentially residential. We're looking at all kinds of options for that so if we're not able to attract the perfect manufacturing tenant to the business park, we can still do something with it that will support Vinton. And then other than that, just wanted to let you know that people outside of Vinton are really interested in the town. We just recently hosted our third group, the Harvest Foundation, based out of Martinsville. We were connected to them through Roanoke County Economic Development, and they had heard about Vinton and what we were doing, and they wanted to come and learn kind of how we've gotten to where we are through our redevelopment projects, through our partnerships, through any creative means. So Pete and myself were involved in that meeting, and we were able to show some people some cool stuff that we were doing. They asked, and we were happy to show off. Other than that, those are kind of some of the bigger items that we're working on right now. We have obviously a lot of prospects, a lot of day-to-day operations that we're working with. We're restructuring our local grants, and Roanoke County has recently they've given us details about a grant that they are proposing. So we're seeing if Vinton businesses can apply for that grant, and then see if we can have more control over our local grants also. So we're going through that restructure process right now, and we're scheduling a meeting with Roanoke County to get all that figured out.
Awesome.
So
Wow.
I know that was a lot, but if you all have any specific questions about what's going on or any directions that you all would like to see, feel free to let me or Pete
Great
know.
presentation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
And it's okay that it's long.
Yeah, we can listen to that all over.
Yeah.
It's long. I mean, some of them they don't need to be long. As long as everyone that you do is long, we love it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to answer a single question.
And you give it to gas like that now. I mean, we like to hear that stuff. So you just walk up there and say, look, we'll build a couple houses. We just let you know.
Man, that was a great report, no doubt. Always good to hear a report like that. I'll just mention one thing. There's a lot of great news there, but one of the things you mentioned I think is so very important, because I get questions about this on occasion. You mentioned that we're using part of our, I think it's an EPA grant, $500,000 grant, and you used the term buy down. And I think that's really important. While we can't give someone money to go in business or to locate in Vinton, we can kind of sweeten the pie, if I may use that term. And if I understand, we pay all that cost up front so they don't have to, and that's what you meant by that buy down. I think that's really important that people know that town of Vinton has pursued that on several occasions and have been quite successful. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Absolutely. Certain funds, somebody else's money that we're allowed to use.
There you go.
Not have to use the taxpayers' money, and then be able to use those challenge properties. Like I mentioned, we don't have a lot of green space. There are certain parts of Vinton, certain properties, certain buildings that are challenged, but with a little bit of love, cheapen it for someone with the idea, then they can come in. It's just a lot easier for them.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. That's great. That's the way things should work, right?
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Marshall, for a great report.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Marshall.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can come back anytime.
That's right.
Make it a little longer next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay, and now I guess we can, I'm sure this will be just as exciting. We'll move on to the town manager with the budget.
Gary, tell us we're out of money.
Yeah, after Marshall's report, we're out of money.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything Marshall told us, but we're out of money.
And now the other shoe.
Well, I'll start off by saying we'll be forwarding this information out to you so you have a chance to do a deeper dive into the budget presentation. This is just the first reading of 3. We'll do our recommended manager's budget tonight. We'll do a public hearing at the next council meeting and budget adoption hopefully the following meeting. So you'll hear this information a lot and you'll have plenty of opportunity to read it in more detail. You've also heard this at the recent retreat, so this all should be fairly familiar to you by the time we're done. Please stop me along the way. I will have a few things to highlight on each of the slides, but if anything catches your attention, give me a pause and we'll explain in more detail. I'll maybe turn to the experts over across the way if it gets too challenging. But first of all, on the first slide, I just wanted to mention that in 2020, we did adopt our strategic plan, and we've been using that strategic plan for our budget kind of priorities for the last number of years. We're getting toward the end of that plan, which is expected, and however, we did just start the comprehensive plan. So that will give us a new set of priorities for the next 25 years. And we'll use the basis of that comp plan to create a new strategic plan, which is a little more defined, a little more short, defined period of time. But just wanted to reiterate, we do have a set of plans that each year kind of provides us our marching orders, how to develop your budget. So the second page, seems allowed to me. The second page, I just wanted to provide a few highlights of what this budget represents. There are no proposed tax increases really across the board. There are a few fee adjustments, but as far as the tax rates, they all remain the same. We do have a proposed 3% cost of living adjustment for employees. This is consistent with our neighboring communities, reduced from last year, but still quite healthy. Probably the more impact of that being felt by our employees is we had no health insurance increases this year, so they actually get to retain that. Sure. And we also are budgeting a end of the year bonus. So I wanted to highlight that we are proposing that again this year within the proposed budget. We do have a fairly significant use of fund balance this year. That was somewhat planned. We were very conservative on what we planned for our revenues with the expectation that throughout the year, as revenues do well, we will attack priorities within the budget. So in this particular year, you'll see a lot of one-time expenses, support of economic development, and increased paving as we've done for the last several years. So we'll highlight that in a moment, but just wanted to kind of pull that out. The next, the page is just a overall highlight of the budget variances from the previous year. So you have the general fund, which is about an 8.5% increase. The grant fund even, the capital fund. It appears low, and I'll get into that a little bit later. That's still very aggressive, $660,000, and there's some projects and funding that is not shown and reflected in that capital plan. So I will dive into that a little bit later. And then the stormwater fund, which is both comprised of projects and personnel. So this year we have a modest 4.19% total increase in the budget. And from there, I'll talk in more detail. Slide 5. This just gives you a little bit more of a breakdown of our revenues and how they compared the previous year. So I won't read through all those of interest, but there's a couple that I'd like to highlight. Other property taxes includes BPOL and pari-mutuel. I know that it's not necessarily self-explanatory of what other local taxes represent. There are some others in there, but that's primarily what those represent. Use of money, interest rate, what we get from the bank. So that's a fairly good number there. The reason why the War Memorial is so far down is because we have planned a full half year of that facility being closed for renovations. So this past year, we did extremely well, but we're showing a significant reduction in our rental because the facility won't be open. Miscellaneous revenue, primarily, we'll just call that West Virginia Water Authority. So there's some of the payments that we get from the Water Authority and some of the offset of our debt from Roanoke County for fire, and some of our other debt that we're essentially debt-free at the current moment, but it's because we're getting funding from other sources to make some of that up. Let's see. Categorical aid, that is primarily VDOT, is that correct? Am I saying that right? Highway maintenance money and use of fund balance. So I mentioned a moment ago there, the majority of that is our first construction loan payment scheduled in this coming fiscal year for Gish's Mill. So we have $1 million in construction loan that we're planning for them. So we have to pay for that. Some of that will be reimbursed, but we have to plan for that one-time expense. So that's a fairly large outlay and some cash that we have to plan for this year. The next series of slides just represent what you kind of show some of the previous years and coming years growth trend. This is a slide showing the general fund. So you'll see, we are very conservative. I wouldn't say very. We're pretty conservative in our revenue adjustments year over year. We could probably be a little bit more aggressive, but I would rather build in some capacity there to make some mid-year adjustments. And should the economy, turn slightly in our disadvantage, it would be easier to adjust for. So you'll see a next series of slides here that kind of show our conservative nature. Those orange bars, you'll see that they continue to outperform our budget, which that's just a good thing, but is partly because the economy is doing good and somewhat because we budget on a conservative nature. Slide 7 shows real estate. Again, no proposed tax increases. We'll mention Roanoke County, as you may know, has lowered their tax rate again. So our residents do get that reduction in their real estate tax. So I think they went down to $1.04. We remain at 7 cents. Personal property tax, slide 8, and VLF. Slide 9 shows our portion of state sales tax. This is filtered through a 8.5%, 8.6% share of what Roanoke County gets from the state. Slide 10 shows meals tax. This one continues to perform extremely well. A lot of the restaurants that are appearing on the top 5 and particularly the top 10 didn't exist 5 or 6 years ago. So those revenues continue to do well. I think some of that is based on the new businesses that we have. We're attracting dining from outside Vinton community. We're also servicing our own residents. And then as some of this is reflected in just the cost of that meal going up as well. So we don't know what the actual mix is, but the overall good news is that it continues to be kind of our bread and butter, no pun intended. Slide 11 is our business license taxes. Again, no tax rate increases proposed. Slide 12 is pari-mutuel. This one is kind of anomaly. We, every year we talked in more detail at the retreat about, what this revenue has done for us. And primarily it's provided us some flexibility within our operating budget, but by a large part, we put a good portion of this money, if not all this money, into capital, if the way you look at the budget and how it's proposed. So we've been able to do a lot of catch up on deferred maintenance, particularly paving, equipment purchases. It's a good place to be. It's quite the operation, and again, it's one of those things that didn't exist just a few years ago for us. So quite a good opportunity. Slide 13. I want to highlight a couple of the larger percentage increases there. General administration. Those are primarily salary adjustments, across the board. This is our leadership team, our administrative staff, and some of our adjustments and reallocation across the boards. We have made some adjustments in, for example, our capital projects manager and how that's allocated. And so it appears very large. It's primarily just how we account for it. Special programs, community development. Community development, that's primarily the comp plan. So that's a one-time expense this year. So almost $200,000 is factored into that one. Some of that is being paid for in the current year, so it's not all reflected there. Performance agreements, that's primarily Gish's Mill. So you see that large payment there. The budget variance is exclusively captured by Gish's Mill. Slide 14, just an illustration of the percentages of where we spend our funds. As in years past, about 50%, a little over 50% of our budget's primarily PD and public works. So you can see where the majority of our staff and the majority of our expenses are accounted for. Slide 15. Just wanted to highlight that we are proposing no staff adjustments again this year, so we remain at 69 employees. However, we are proposing a new part-time position in finance. There is a rollover position we have yet to fund in HR that's also part-time. So there's some slight adjustments there, but that's just basically some hourly assistance that we need periodically in both of those divisions. But again, holding tight at 69 employees. Slide 16. Most of our expenditure, 45%, is in personnel. You got to have the people to do the work. Slide 17. This is our CIP listing, and again, $660,000 in comparison to the last couple of years seems like a small amount, but within the operating budget not appearing here, we have $850,000 in paving. We have $650,000 for the Gish's Mill project. We have $200,000 in the comp plan. We have $500,000 in Mountain View and quite a few rollover projects. So $660,000 seems low, but when you factor in all the other one-time expenses that are included in this budget, it doesn't paint an accurate picture. So just wanted to highlight those additional expenses that don't actually appear in the CIP. And then just very quickly, talking about the remaining budget adoption schedule. We'll have a public hearing. It's been advertised or will be advertised for May 21st, and the budget adoption is scheduled for June 4th if things go well from here to there. And I know that was a quick and dirty, but I'll be happy to give my best effort to answer any questions you have, or Andrew and Cody do the bulk of this work, and they're also here and can answer any questions you have. But we'll send out the budget link to you so you can take a little bit deeper dive. If you have any questions, we're always available. And we'll do the public hearing at next council meeting. Overall, it's a great budget. Really proud of the staff coming together. All the department heads, not just the budget team, but everybody gets their opportunity. And I still reflect on those lean years where it was much more difficult. someone said the two most difficult budgets are budgets when you don't have any money and budgets when you do have money, because it's where you're going to spend your time and your priorities. So it's a good place to be. We still have to be conservative and we have to prioritize, but staff does a good job and gives us good advice, and we kind of all talk it over, and with the support of council that we've got, makes the process a lot easier than it could be otherwise. So appreciate that, and that is all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any comments or questions?
Looking good.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Solid, that's a good word.
When you
Just keep getting better.
you give a raise, I mean, a lot of places will give a raise and then the insurance, the health insurance goes up. I just said to Cody, 4.5 years ago, we didn't have a capital improvements budget. We had
That's right.
zero. We didn't even have one. Didn't exist. Never existed.
Right.
So I know you talked about the $600,000 or $600-some thousand being in there, but still though, I mean, when you look at the presentation that Marshall gave of what we're doing for economic development, and one of the greatest things that Marshall said, what the work we're doing to me in the town is that we got people outside the town that want to come into the town. And that's the hard work of y'all. So yeah, that my word would be such a solid budget. And we are doing, in my opinion, what the taxpayers ask us to do with their money. And that's be good stewards of it. And y'all do a great job.
Well said, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Like you said, well said, salary increase, a no tax increase. And if I heard you right, we're maintaining approximately 69 employees.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a lot of work done. You mentioned tough budgets when you don't have money, and when you do have money, I'll take the ones when you do have money.
Especially on the capital side, it's nice to provide those services and those projects to the citizens and the businesses. So
Yeah. And the other thing I might just mention briefly, as you said, we've already seen a lot of this at our retreat. Of course, this presentation, we'll see it a couple more times before we actually get around to passing the budget. So I'd just like for our folks to know there's a lot of work, and particularly on part of the staff and council too, that goes into considering the budget. Sometimes when we just do that quick vote, it doesn't seem like it's a very big thing, but there's a lot of work is going into it.
Well, we'll also have the budget posted online so that folks, as general citizens, can go see what the draft budget looks like. So not only is the actual public hearing, but there'll be an opportunity for the citizens, businesses to see it.
Yep.
Ask any questions they have. And there's physical copies here at the office if they'd like to come see it in person, but they will be posted online and they'll have the opportunity to dive in at whatever depth that they'd like.
I did know there was one rather large expenditure by the committee that Councilman Lyles was on, so.
You say that?
I saw that. So, Community Development Committee. Hey, that's a good thing, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, next item is the Town of Benton Employee Handbook. No?
Turn.
Why is it that one of the best speakers in town is so reluctant to speak? I don't get it.
So reluctant because, again, 10 years I've been here, there is no stool.
Yes,
Yes, thank you. I have my printing.
just don't quiz me. I mean, I'm much more.
Sure.
I apply for that part-time HR job. What's that? Yeah, that's it.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm here to talk to you about some handbook updates that we had previously talked about last year. Previously, I had gone to the committees, the Finance Committee, the Public Works Committee, and the Community Development Committee, just to brief you on these changes. So this is just kind of, we've had other things come up that we've decided to delay making these changes, but these changes are the same changes that I talked to you about last year. So before you have a resolution to approve these changes, but before you do that, I would like to go over them with you. There are 4 proposed changes. The first one is in employee classification. So presently, we have a full-time employee classification is 40 hours of a work week minimum, and this is excluding, of course, public safety, because theirs is different. And what I'm proposing is that we make it a minimum of 30 hours, so we're more in line with ACA guidelines. And then by doing that determination, the full-time employee would then be 30 hours or more, and a part-time employee would then be 30 hours or less. The second change I propose is exempt employees, and it's just a timekeeping, really an internal change. Right now, previously we had everyone had turned in a timesheet, and just because of the nature of one person approving those timesheets for 13 of us, it was a little daunting for him, and there's usually no change on any of the leadership team's timesheets. So what we propose is making that you only have to submit when you use your PTO time, so that we can make the adjustments in the payroll system, so that it's accurately accounted for. And then the other change is that discretionary employees, which would be your exempt discretionary, which would be primarily your leadership team, can only use 8 hours of discretionary time in one sitting. So they couldn't take 40 hours of discretionary time to go to the beach versus, 8 hours of discretionary and 32 hours of PTO. I just want to make sure I got that one. The PTO policy change in the addendum part of the handbook. Currently, there's only 2 instances that an employee cannot accrue PTO time, and that is when they're placed on administrative leave or when they're suspended by the town. What I propose is adding 2 additional occurrences, which would be when an employee is on any type of unpaid leave greater than 40 hours per biweekly pay period. So this would be like your FMLA. Currently, if they're on FMLA, they can still continue to accrue time. And the other instance is really reflective of the PTO change we made in the transition, where we had the 3 options, option A, B, and C, that they cannot accrue it when they're using their option A funds to get to the retirement date. Some of these things you don't learn until the hard way. So I'm going to make that change. And then the final change is really the holiday policy in Section 7, time off and leave of absences. And this is really a benefit we want to add to our part-time employees, our permanent part-time employees. Currently, if there's a holiday, they don't get any pay for it. So we would like to be able to award them half of what their normal part-time hours for that day. So if they came in and worked 4 hours and then that day became a holiday, and that's their average of the days that they work, the average hours of the day they work, then we would give them 2 hours of holiday pay. Does that make sense? Okay. You look like you have a question, Mike.
I do, but I was,
Okay.
no, not on that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that? So,
Yeah.
so on a holiday, say 4th of July, it's a holiday, and we have part-time employees working, will they get their 4 hours pay plus 2 hours pay for working holiday pay? For working a holiday? Do they get any benefit?
Yes, they do get a benefit for working the holiday as well.
Okay.
Because that's what our full-time employees, they get the holiday pay, and then they get the extra pay for like, pretty much all public works and PD for working the holiday
Right, okay.
if they weren't normally scheduled. So
basically, you're just adding a holiday pay.
yeah, that's basically through the benefit that when we don't have town events, so previously if we had, they wouldn't get paid for Christmas or they wouldn't get paid for the day after Thanksgiving. This would give them that a little bit of
They get
pay
2
towards
hours pay
that.
for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to the employee classification in the top one, of course, the current and proposed. So give me just a little bit more on that 30 hours. So if they work 34, are they going to get paid for 40?
No. What basically it is, it's not looking at the hourly wage. They're just looking at, okay, we're going to classify a full-time employee who's eligible for benefits, VRS contributions as 30 hours or more versus 40 hours or more.
Got it.
So
Because they're paid for what they work.
Got it.
it's a definition.
Yes.
Right, so
Yeah.
that, but it allows the 30 hours that before we had the 40 hours for the VRS and be able to
Correct.
benefits. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Jeremy, you have any questions?
Good.
Looks good.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna.
Council, any other questions or comments?
No,
I think you have the vote.
Keep on getting to be a better place to work.
Yeah.
Yes,
For the
sir.
town.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what, that's the way you attract good people.
Waiting on the PTO for the council, but anyway, I guess that's next. Sick leave, everything.
No, I'm fine. Okay. Council, if there are no further questions, you have before you a resolution that would adopt the new Town of Benton Employees Handbook as presented tonight.
I'll make the motion to accept.
And I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember McCarty, second by Councilmember Mullins. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember McCarty,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stovall,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Since you brought up about the stool, do you guys remember when Dukakis, well, you wouldn't remember this, but you may have read about it in a history book. Dukakis running for president, rather,
He was a petite individual.
yeah, petite individual, yes. So they told him, the story goes, he's walking up to a mic and they said, Mr. Dukakis, step up on the stool. And he said, I did. Okay. That's a dad story there.
Thank you.
Okay. After that, let's go to the town attorney.
Nothing for me, Mr. Mayor. Lots going on, though. Had a good meeting with Pete and some staff today for a couple hours, going over a few things. So a lot of wheels in motion.
Let me say, as we have seen in the national news in the last couple of months, you probably want to keep your attorney on your side instead of making him mad. I did not send the text message today about dressing casual. Just like, as you can tell, he's got a towel, so I want you to know it and leave you out.
We know Jeremy's going to have a towel.
So,
I was looking for the text. So
I didn't send it. I want you to
I'm not wearing it.
I want you to know that.
Oh, my goodness. It's great that we can have things like that to be considered. Right? Mr. Town Manager, any further updates this evening?
I do have a few things if you don't mind.
Sure.
I will say that Jeremy's working on probably 8 contracts or give or take or ordinance updates for us.
Wow.
He's quite busy behind the scenes. But I do have a couple of updates for the good of the group. Lee Avenue and West Jackson, West Lee and West Jackson were paved today. I believe they're finished. They were very close prior to this meeting started, so.
It looked good.
We had a little bit of delay yesterday because of weather, so I apologize for that inconvenience. We did try to pick the best day for the businesses in our town, so it would have the least amount of impact. But when you do a downtown street like that, or streets, it does definitely cause some inconveniences. So that'll be back to normal very soon. 8th Street paving and 4th Street, they will, once they finish up here, they'll be migrating down to 4th and 8th Street. There's a portion of 8th Street we're going to try to do on a Saturday. Because of the flaggers that the railroad are requiring. So that could happen this week. It was scheduled to happen last Saturday, but because of the weather, we postponed that. So quite a few more paving projects to finish up. And this is actually last year's paving schedule. So we'll be finishing that up. And I think the bids were due today for actually next year's paving. So I have yet to see those results, but I'm looking forward to getting those scheduled. Crosswalks at Gus Nick's, that crosswalk got underway today. So if you're over that side of town, you saw that there's a single lane closure. It actually worked out that the city of Roanoke, just over the town limits, was doing a sidewalk and curb repair as well for their one-way. So they kind of made that tie together. Worked out pretty well. They will be on that Gus Nick's crosswalk about a month. So give or take, they should be there about a month. They'll work in a single lane at a time. So you should just see one lane closed. They'll jump over the other side of the street and one lane will be closed as they progress. And then they'll move over to Gus Nick's about the time, Hardy Road about the time that school lets out. So they'll another month over there, give or take. Mountain View Road, there was a post that went out today from the town. I believe that's scheduled for, let's just call it mid-June. That's a really good number, a good date. I think we're on target for that. Some utility work's been going on, so if the residents or folks have seen work on Mountain View Road, it's preparation of the actual FDR process. So they're kind of getting their ducks in a row and getting the utilities to the right depth. So when they start the FDR, everything will hopefully go according to plan. That'll be about a 30-day project. Could be a little bit less, could be a little more, depending on how the weather cooperates and what they find when they start digging that road up. So, but we're excited to get that project. It's a long time coming. I know the residents out in East County and that end of town is very much looking forward to that. So that is happening. I know several council members have asked about the Thrasher Church stormwater. That's still in the progress. We've been designing that project for about 6 months now on the church's behalf. So we're getting close to getting the correct easements in place, and we'll be bidding that project out with their cooperation here in another month or so, and see where that construction level comes in. As I mentioned, we did start the comp plan. Our first public engagement was the Dogwood Festival. They had over 100 citizens stop by their booth, which was a great way to kick this meeting off.
Nice.
We've also given the consultant, I think, 13 or 14 names on our advisory list, and I believe everyone is accepted, which is, we were hoping to get 10 out of the 14, and I think everyone accepted. So that meeting will happen here soon, and as well as their individual meetings with council and the planning commission. So you'll hear from our consultant, Michael and Vlad, and they'll be scheduling something in person or virtually with each of you individually, whatever meets your preference. And they'll come to you or they'll do virtually, however it works best. So that should happen within the next couple of days. You'll start seeing that communication from the consultant.
If it's a little cheaper to do it virtual. If you want to bring the price of the comp plan down a little bit. Yeah. It's cheaper than they don't live here.
Oh, okay, good to know.
I did want to say, been working on a waiver from the Virginia Pharmacy Board for quite some time, probably nearly a year. Sam Condiff approached the town about maybe over a year about putting his Condiff Drugstore sign, which is iconic of Benton, back at its original location. And the owner of the old location agreed, and we determined we couldn't do it because state code prevented a pharmacy sign going up on a non-active pharmacy. So we went through the process, not solely for that, but in large part, we went through the historic district process. We got that approval in March. We sent the waiver request to the pharmacy board today and actually got a yes in the same day. So
Wow.
I'm happy to report that we got permission to restore. I've let Sam and Dale know. So I don't know how quickly that will happen, but it's purely in Sam and Dale's hands at this last August.
Okay.
We gave them notice of the project, and then I sent a letter out on behalf of the town in October to all the utility companies as well. And we had conversations with all of the utility companies. We gave them plenty of opportunity to do inspections, to make some movements. So the only thing they're doing at this point is not upgrades. It's up and down. It's getting them lower. In some cases, some of the utilities are shallow, so they're getting that work done before the construction
Okay, because
happens.
they did work today. They did water work today. And then I saw the gas line and that,
So anything that would be to happen in the future, it would be purely a break that we wouldn't know about.
okay. Does that make sense? I mean, what I was bringing up is making sense.
100%. And that, we have that conversation pretty consistently. As soon as we pave a road, we want to, like Clearview, for example, that project, we did the milling and there was several weeks delay, and that was just so the water authority go in there and do some utility upgrades.
Okay, great.
We're trying to coordinate that, trying to be as proactive as we can. And we're not going to bat 1,000. I can promise you. But we're giving everything we can to identify the right people and give them opportunity. We can't force them, but we give them that opportunity.
Okay.
And then real quick to your point about seeing all the utility markings out there. So the utility companies have been actively present since last Wednesday, and they are marking for the road project, not for their utility projects.
Got it.
So this is in anticipation of the project we're doing, not for any repairs.
Yeah, well, I saw the water line, the water marking.
Water line,
And then
gas
followed
line
it
had-
today and saw where they'd done work on Mountain View on the water, on the blue line. And then, of course, as you know, yellow
So
gas.
It's really, again, it's for when they do the reclamation project, they know where to slow down.
Yeah.
But, in case that utility line isn't at the depth that they're anticipating. But
Good.
I feel like we've done our due diligence with the utility companies, and they've all been participating. And
we had, a dozen representatives out there last Tuesday walking up and down the road and marking. And the reason it is it's because this is not a normal repaving project.
Right.
When you take the top 2 inches off and put 2 inches down, you don't got to mark utilities because you're not coming anywhere near them. But when you're going 12 inches down, you need to mark utilities so that you know where it is. So the markings that people see out there are for our project. It is imminent.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wasn't my turn yet. You're fine.
That's a good point, Mike. Thank you for that. Yeah. Ma'am, I think so too.
Well, to piggyback off of what you said about Dogwood, I just wanted to comment that I had reservations at first, but I loved it. It was so intimate, so small town, so many people. People didn't have to stop shopping with the vendors to watch. They could keep shopping, watching, waving, keep on doing their thing. They didn't have to stop and find a place to sit. They could continue. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Me too.
It was a good day. Also, I enjoy a ribbon cutting, and what more can I ask for than a new pizza place on my birthday? So I'm looking forward to that.
A happy birthday.
And CPR and first aid today was fun. We learned some stuff, but we had a good time. And Detective Baker, top notch. Top notch.
Yeah, it sure is. That's for sure. And you're right. That's good training and a lot of fun. Ma'am, your turn.
Well, my restaurant shout out for me personally this week is the Dogwood Restaurant. I went yesterday and today. I'm not going back tomorrow. But it was very good. I had a blast at the baseball game. It was good. I want to do that more often. The suite was awesome. We've been in a couple of those up there, and that one is definitely, I want to go there again. And last week was Small Business Week, where we kind of focused on small businesses at my work, and I was able to go out and visit some of the small businesses, and I just wanted to let everyone know that I had visited Pretty Paws, and she was just ecstatic about the Dogwood Festival. She said it was the best one yet, and that she had actually gotten some new clients from that.
Awesome.
So I think that is great. She was she didn't have enough time to tell me all the good stuff that she wanted to tell me about it. So she was excited about it. And because it was Small Business Week, we got Deb's Lemonade to give to our client. So I want to give a shout out to Deb's.
All right.
And I think that's all.
Good deal. Thank you, ma'am. Sir?
He said,
Well, Mayor,
yeah.
the one that normally before you do, you kind of already know that everything's already been. I'll just let you bring up the rear and you say exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
We can call it a night.
Okay. Well, on behalf of Keith and I do have a few things, but I believe me, I know what you're saying, man. We've talked about it, but I do have to reiterate, I thought the Dogwood was great. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great vendors. It seemed like everyone was having a good time. And I just loved it. And I hope that that's the shape of the Dogwood Festival for the future, because I think it fits in the way people live these days. Things have changed, and big parades are hard to pull off. And Mike, I haven't asked you before, so this is just off the cuff. So when you were Dogwood president, how many volunteers you guys have?
I don't remember. I remember we paid the bands $1,000 a band to come.
Yeah.
And, but we had, I don't exactly remember. Do you, when you were president?
I've never been president of the Dogwood.
Oh, I thought you was.
No, what I was going to say is one of the reasons that we don't like the participation in the parades and stuff is what I've been told is it's nothing to do with the parade, and we could probably get some participation. If someone can talk to the school board about maybe delaying the closing of school and maybe going back to school. Anyway, the bands, they turned in all their instruments by the time that the Dogwood Festival, there is no bands out there for us to have a parade. Who has a parade without a band?
Well, and you were 100% correct, because typically what a lot of parents do, and the last number I heard was 60% of the parents rent the instruments for their students.
Yeah.
And then concert band is over with in March, and the parents don't want to continue to rent those instruments for just the Dogwood Parade. And that's why they said that. I didn't really look at the Birds Band, but they said Birds Band was smaller than it typically is. But anyway, so yeah, you're absolutely
Just
right.
a few students that walked in there. It wasn't the whole band.
Right.
You're absolutely right, Keith.
The point of it is things have just changed, and I think the Dogwood Festival, as we saw it this year, is probably what we need to concentrate on going down the road. Future Dogwoods, I think, will look similar to that. Maybe we can expand the parade a little, maybe not. I don't want to go there. Actually, the point I wanted to make is it was almost a rite of passage here in the town to be part of the Dogwood Festival, to serve on the committee and everything, lots of volunteers. We don't have that these days. It's my understanding, and I had the list, I think I gave it to Debbie. There was like 5 or 6 committee members. There was a couple additional folks who worked at the concert. I saw Chi Craft down there and some folks. The point of it is it's a handful of volunteers that work on that. So what you saw, in my opinion, was the town of Benton. It was the police, was everyone. All of our staff people were there, even finance, police department. I know you guys were very involved. Everybody. That's hard. I saw our HR director out there picking up trash and stuff. And I can't imagine the number of hours the administration and the form of their town manager, assistant town manager put in. So things have changed. And I love the fact that we have the Dogwood Festival. I certainly hope it continues for a long time. But we should keep in mind it has an impact on our staff. Our staff works hard to pull that thing off, and they did a great job. So staff,
I think at 10 o'clock that night, you'd never known that there was a Dogwood Festival.
that's right. True. Good point, man. That's exactly.
Because HR director got their pictures.
I don't know if we've mentioned or not, but Benton Museum has their push to raise money for the cargo elevator. Just shout out to the two people that are watching online. They do have that a campaign started, so if anyone wants to contribute to that. One last thing I want to say, and this is something I really think we need to emphasize because it's so very important. I was kidding you earlier, Keith, about the expense of the comp plan. We are spending some money on that, but that is so very important. That's the plan we're going to use for the next 25 years. And, you know, a few years ago, we were in the habit, we as citizens, of going to various public meetings. We were having a lot of them at the time. At the time, several years ago, and what's happened, a lot of those plans have come to fruition. We've done things that happened in those public meetings. And I like to point out that there were several public meetings involving the library, but one in particular was huge. I don't know, Debbie, if you were there or not, but there were at least 50 or 60 people there. And at that meeting, you know, they did the typical exercise where you take the dots and put on the board what you like and everything. The citizens chose basically how the library was going to be situated on the property, the basic layout, and the color of the bricks. So that shows you how important those meetings are. So I hope we can really promote the comp plan meetings and have a good turnout because those are really, really important meetings. And so anyhow, but that's my 2 cents worth. Did I cover the things that you had in mind there, sir?
Exactly. I mean,
Okay.
word for word.
Okay. I appreciate you writing it.
I would want to.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my goodness.
God.
Anything further to come before council meeting this evening? Nope. If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by leaving. Thank you, folks. God bless you.
Good days.